Romanza by Bartolomé Calatayud. Subscribers to this channel, and also people following the GCH Guitar Academy fingerstyle guitar course, will know that videos like this are to introduce you to the tune and the composer, so you've got a better idea how it should sound when you come to learning it. So I'll play several versions of this tune through this video, and I'll also give a brief introduction to the composer. Here it is being played then, at 140 beats per minute with a metronome beat, and it's 3/4 time. Romanza by Bartolomé Calatayud. Now, normally I wouldn't play this tune with a metronome because of the title, Romanza or Romance, which suggests it wants an emotional response, and an emotional response is far easier to achieve free time. However, there's something in the technique or interpretation I wanted to draw your attention to. So here's the tune again, slightly different. See if you can tell what the difference is. Could you hear the difference between those two versions? If you could, it'd be really interesting to know which one you preferred, so stick a comment down below. If you couldn't hear the difference, here's the first two lines of both versions being played with a blank screen, so you can focus on what you're listening to. What you were listening for is, in the first version, I was muting the bass between each bar, whereas in the second version, I was letting the bass ring on. If you heard that, well done. And the reason I brought this up is because whilst I was researching this tune, I noticed more or less half of the guitarists on YouTube are playing it with the muted bass line, and the other half are allowing the bass to ring on. Now, is one of these ways incorrect? Not really, but one is slightly less technically correct. If you look at the music, you'll notice there's a rest at the beginning of each bar. And in music, the rest really does mean silence, and it should be silent. So therefore, the bass should be muted. Now, this can have exceptions where the style is legato, or where you get the note above the score telling you to allow the notes to ring on. In the version of the score I've got, there's no allow to ring on or legato or anything like that. So I'll be muting the notes between each bar. However, if you choose to play it with the notes ringing on, then that's fine. When we come to the lesson, I'll allow you to choose your own method. Both methods are as hard as each other, as if you let it ring on, you have to commit to that and try not to mute those notes whilst they're still ringing. And on the other hand, if you want to mute between each bar, that's quite difficult as well, because you have to make sure the note's dead before you move on to the next bar. Here's the tune being played one more time, slightly slower than 140 beats per minute, but open time, with the bass notes being muted. Romanza by Bartolomé Calatayud. This tune is part of a collection of 4 pieces of music called Cuatro, Piezas, Faciles para Guitarra, or in a language I can pronounce more correctly, 4 easy pieces for guitar. And I've included all 4 pieces in Book 2 of the GCH Guitar Academy fingerstyle guitar course, but I've not put them in the original order, as I've wanted to teach the easy ones first and work up to the more difficult ones. And even though they're called 4 easy pieces, I think this is from the point of view of a guitar master. So I would say they're quite hard for someone who's learning the guitar. So when you get to learning these tunes, if you find them difficult, don't worry, it's not you. Right, let's learn a little about the composer. Bartolomé Calatayud was born on the 8th of September 1882 in Palma, Mallorca, and he died on the 11th of April 1973. If you can remember back to the previous guitarists and composers we've looked at, he's a lot later than any of those, in that he's just born at the end of the Romantic period. And if you think about it, he lived in a really interesting period of time for the guitar, because he was born and spent his early days in the Romantic period. But by the time he died, it was 3 years after Jimi Hendrix had died. So he lived through some of the most important eras in musical development. He was born, lived most of his life, and died on the island of Mallorca. For anyone who doesn't know, Mallorca is part of a collection of islands called the Balearic Islands, which are in the middle of the Mediterranean, and they belong to Spain. And it's easily my favourite of the Spanish islands. If I ever won the lottery, I'd be living there in a heartbeat. Even though Bartolomé Calatayud spent most of his time in Mallorca, he did go to the mainland for brief periods, where he learnt from various other guitar teachers, including one we've already looked at, and that was Francisco Tárrega. I think because he was happy teaching in Mallorca in the University of Palma, he didn't get as well known as many of the other classical guitarists. However, I think this is a shame, because people who discover him and his work really appreciate how good he was. But he did get some international recognition from his association with the International Classical Music Festival that was held in Pollença from 1961. If you're following the fingerstyle guitar course of GCH Guitar Academy, you'll be coming back to this composer in the future, because we'll be covering more of his music and learning how to play it. But if you've not and you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified when the lessons are being uploaded. And you can download the PDFs for the lessons from www.ebooks4guitar.com, and they're completely free. Also, on the website, you'll find the video guitar lessons for the fingerstyle guitar course in order. But you can also find these on the GCH Guitar Academy YouTube channel if you click on the playlists, and there you'll see the fingerstyle guitar courses. Here, one last time, is Romanza by Bartolomé Calatayud, and I'm playing it slightly quicker, free time. Thank you very much for watching.